Libra, welcome to your end of March 2025 General Tarot Update. It's Rena here. Just a little clarification because I announced that I was going to have all my tarot readings on another channel, but I thought it would be smart to have at least one set of readings on this channel so that whoever happens to be on this channel, they can see how I do the tarot. Because sometimes people, they might, not know that I have a different channel. I probably should have a link to that, but people, and there are other reasons why I'm doing it too. But I just want you to know. But if you do like the tarot and you want more tarot readings, check out that channel because my intention is to build that up as well. I want to have that going, but at the same time, I don't want to just completely cut myself off from it here because this is where I have the most, established audience and things like that. And I had always wanted to do it like that, and for some reason I forgot that was the way I wanted to do it, and I just kind of thought, just don't have anything, just have this pure astrology and that pure tarot. And it's like, I don't know, because I think some people, they expect to have both. And when I do tarot readings, I always talk about the transits, so I do really connect the two. So anyway, by the way, this is a new tarot deck. This is my latest tarot deck. I really like it. It's called the Flower Child. I was going to say Flower Power. And it's, to me, like, I was in diapers during the Summer of Love. But from what I have seen, this reminds me of like the early 70s more than the 60s. But maybe I'm wrong about that. Anybody who can remember, they say if you remember the 60s, you weren't there. So, but if you can remember the 60s and you were there, tell me if I'm right or wrong. Okay, so the heart of the matter is the Eight of Swords. And this is a card of, first of all, Libra, you are swords. So this is really connected to your energy of the mind. Communication, but you know what? Your thoughts are you communicating to yourself, and self-limiting beliefs is what this card can be all about, and that's why they show the bondage. It's like, what is holding you back in your life? Now, it's interesting because we are, in the second half of April, of March, we are having this, not only the eclipse in Aries in your opposite sign, but also the entrance of Neptune into Aries and the astrological new year in Aries, which is the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere, and that is on the 20th of March. So a lot of Aries energy coming in. I have a separate video on my take on how Saturn and Neptune, both going into Aries in the next couple of months, may impact you. So check that out. But you may be feeling this sense of limitation for some reason. One of the transits that we just had that was another powerful one was the eclipse a few days ago that was in Virgo. And this was technically, officially on the 14th, but who knows if it will affect you at that time or not. It might be something, it actually could be a very good thing that could be kind of Eight of Swords related, where it actually liberates you, because this is a form of oppression. And it might be, the Eight of Swords, and it could be the old tapes playing, something that you didn't initiate that was projected onto you. So keep that in mind, because it's one of those things where people think that they are talking about themselves, or that they're, the negative self-talk could be something that was said to you that you have just simply absorbed. And in terms of your life, you may feel stuck. Maybe it's in a relationship that's unhappy. I'm just going to keep going and we'll see where it takes us. Past position, 10 of Wands. So this can be the uphill battle. Abraham Hicks calls it going upstream. In one of my tarot books, they call it the burdens of success, because, like if you get a promotion and then you have to work longer hours, or you have to, you just have more responsibilities. But in, like, for instance, a relationship, I look at it as you're doing the heavy lifting in the relationship. And I wouldn't be surprised if there are a good number of Libras out there who are in that position. And you have to really get honest with yourself, because if you are the one who is trying to keep a relationship afloat, what does that say about the relationship? It means that it's on life support, or that it's kind of one-sided. And you can't be that attached to relationships that you're just willing to settle for anything, because you have a lot to offer the right person, but it has to be the right person. If this is career related, you may feel in a bind. Maybe you feel like, I need the money, and yet this is sucking my life force energy. This is too much. I can't work 60 hours a week, or even 40 hours a week might be too much for you. And yet you feel trapped. The Eight of Swords is feeling trapped. And that's why I'm saying is that your thoughts are part of that bondage, because you may be telling yourself things about your life that are simply untrue. Maybe what you're saying isn't really the case, and you're using that as an excuse to stay where you are, but it's really not accurate. Only you know that, and only you can free yourself from this oppressive energy. The higher message is the Five of Cups. This is a card of mourning the loss of something, but it can also be seeing the silver lining. Those two cups are upright, that the person has their back towards. It's funny that they have this angel as the symbol of the Five of Cups. I have not seen that in other decks. It would be nice, because, little booklets come with tarot decks, and I wish they would sometimes explain, the artist would explain why they chose certain imagery for the card that they did. They talk about the meaning of the card, but not their choice of imagery, because that's not how the Five of Cups is in the Rider-Waite deck, which is kind of like the standard imagery and related decks. So this is about mourning the loss of something. So something may, and by the way, it doesn't mean that something is officially a loss. It might be, for instance, that you have to quit a job, and you're already anticipating feeling that sense of loss, or a relationship that you need to let go of. And I think sometimes the idea of loss is also due to the fact that the person might feel like they didn't succeed somehow. And it's like they failed. And of course, that's not true. Now, by the way, I had to pause this, and I was listening back to see where I left off. And it sounds like there's some kind of issue with the audio, so I apologize if it comes across as that there's kind of like a staticky sound. I alternate between two phones, and the other phone I think has better audio, so I'm going to keep that in mind. The card that crosses you as a judgment card, this is a card of rebirth, and certainly with everything that's happening, and also a card of cause and effect. And I would say with that one, to really trace, which requires self-reflection, anything that you have been unhappy about, as evidenced by the Five of Cups, or feel disappointed about, think about your part in it, not to put yourself down, to blame yourself, but so that it's a learning experience. Because when we just think that things are happening to us, it's very confusing and very disempowering. So maybe you got with the wrong person, if this is a relationship problem or relationship issue. And also, do you have good judgment in general? Sometimes when I have done private readings, like love readings, or even just like analyzing charts, I can see, hard angles between Venus and Neptune, squares and oppositions, or even sometimes the conjunction can seem like a hard angle because of the way it operates, where the person is falling in love with the wrong individual time and time again. And there are reasons for that, why people do that. But the point is, you have to be able to discern who is right for you or not. Now, this is the card that is directly under the Eight of Swords. So a lot of times that negative self-talk will lead people into ignoring red flags or being attracted to qualities that are actually not good, but actually pretty bad. What's coming in? The Queen of Swords. It's funny, in this deck, I don't know if I've ever picked this card because this is still new for me. She looks like she has a very defiant face. And I have read that, the Queen of Swords can mean that the person has been through a lot and they have to put their feelings aside and really kind of apply logic to a situation, but they're not completely becoming as heartless as the King of Swords. But actually, I'm joking. The King of Swords isn't necessarily heartless, although sometimes they can be divorced from their feelings. But the Queen represents the cups, energy of water. So it's water, and it's the emotions and the intellect. But sometimes you have to put mind, what does it say? Mind, what is it? Heart? I can't think of that saying. I'm sure you know what I'm saying. Not mind over matter, but the intellect over the emotions, because the emotions sometimes can come from a needy place, an unhealed place, and we can't allow that to guide us. But in those moments, but the emotions are very important for us to identify and to use as our GPS system when we are balanced. But when we're imbalanced, imbalanced, we are not thinking clearly. And so we're going to be just going with this kind of a primal need that might be coming from a wounded place, The outcome is the Four of Cups. I'm going to pick an additional card. I didn't realize this was the last one, because you can see with this card that you may clearly feel dissatisfied with something going on, but maybe you needed to really embody it. Maybe you've been trying to rationalize it, and this card can clearly show that you're not feeling it. And someone may be trying, this is the interesting thing. I've never heard an interpretation of this, but when I see that cloud, yes, it could be the universe that's trying to say something to you. Now this is struggling to focus. But the universe may be trying to give you some kind of emotional, I don't know, comfort, and you may be like so wrapped up in your own disappointment that you can't see it. But I also think that it can be even another individual who knows that you're pulling away, and they kind of get afraid, like a narcissist. Sometimes they know. I think a lot of narcissists are really very intuitive, and they know when you're pulling away, and they can be very, they can come on very strong because they're cunning, and try to act like they care. So let's pick one more card here for clarification. Very interesting. Another cups. So definitely you want to tune into your feelings more than your thoughts, because air signs are in love with their thoughts, and don't believe everything that you think. Eckhart Tolle is a late degree Aquarius, and his whole teachings are around the thoughts and the feelings and how they can lead us astray. So keep that in mind, that this card is about the soulmate. And it's and another thing, so it could be like, why be in these two cards, right, one after the other? Why be in this kind of negative energy and coming from this place of trying too hard, when you can be with your soulmate and wait for your soulmate if you have to. Wait for the person who really, and you could even say, you don't have to say it, this card is connected to the soulmate, but just somebody who is really aligned with you. Isn't that better than being with someone that you have to work so hard just to get their attention or what have you? But the other thing that this card represents is childhood and the idyllic times when everything was innocent and pure. And when we had dreams that maybe are going unfulfilled, and maybe you're, feeling trapped because you're not pursuing what you really want. Because I feel like once you give yourself permission to do that, it's the floodgates will open. And I'm not talking about quitting your job tomorrow and then, picking up an easel and starting painting. Oh, you could do that if you have the ability to, pay your mortgage on April 1st or your rent. If you can, go for it. But I'm pretty, I don't know about cautious, but I do feel that we have this 3D reality that we still have to take care of. But at least giving yourself the permission and at least getting the ball rolling. That's all you have to do in this moment. And I guarantee you won't feel as trapped. Even if you're still going to that job that you don't want to go to. You'll start to feel less and less shackled down. Okay, that's what I have for you. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Have a great rest of the month. Bye.